Well, it was a newsworthy night on Monday Night Raw. Lots that has happened, and yeah, lots to go through. We had the shake-up, or half of it, stuff that's been announced after, championship matches added on to things. Vince McMahon said last week that this would shake up WWE. It's time for a change around here. That is the understatement of the century. Many predicting that there wouldn't be too many people switching brands. I think we were all wrong. There's a hell of a lot. This is like a full-blown draft, even pulled out even more. Now, a lot of people are confused by the concept. For me, it's very, very simple. We saw who Raw got tonight, and on SmackDown tomorrow night, we're going to see who SmackDown managed to trade. I think it's very, very simple. I'm not confused with the concept. Now, before we go through everything that took place on Raw, we're going to just go through exactly who has been kind of traded in the Superstar Shake-Up to Monday Night Raw. And we will go through, and I'll give you my thoughts on that trade and what I think it means for them. So first up, we've got Kurt Hawkins, face to facts. He was doing nothing on Raw. You know, he's a jobber now on he was doing nothing on SmackDown, sorry. He's gone on to Raw. He'll job on Raw. It is what it is. Nothing noteworthy about that. We then got Heath Slater and Rhino, former WWE SmackDown Tag Champions, are going to be making that Raw Tag Team division a little bit deeper. I don't mind this move. Whether they stay together as a tag team, we'll have to wait and see. I think they're a decent tag team. Give them a couple of wins. The Raw Tag Team division is absolutely goddamn stacked. But a decent move for them. They weren't really doing anything on SmackDown anymore, so give them a bit of a move. We then got Kalisto moving to Monday Night Raw. Whether that means he is going to be moving to the Cruiserweight division, I don't know. Of course, Sin Cara is a part of the Raw division too. So maybe a return for the Lucha Dragons into the Tag Team division. And if the Raw Tag Team division weren't so stacked, I could see it happening, but I can't. I think he'll go to the Cruiserweights. Apollo Crews, one of the guys that I really thought would benefit from the brand split and just simply hasn't. SmackDown, he's had a couple of, average mid-card feuds, but not really won them or gone anywhere with them. Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler, really, to name a couple. So I think it's time for him to change. Will it change much on Raw? I don't think so. I think what really needs to change with him is a heel turn. But, yeah, he's on Raw. It'd be interesting to see how he's booked on Raw and whether they can sort of reinvent Apollo Crews. We then move on to the two big movers in the women's division. Lots of people speculated about it, and they seem to have been correct. Alexa Bliss is on Monday Night Raw. Not bad at all. She's done all she can on SmackDown, and one of the hottest prospects in the women's division is now on Raw, and is, quote, breaking up the Bayley, Sasha. I can't remember what she said after that. But, so yeah, love that move. Love Alexa Bliss. She's fantastic on the mic. It already breathed a complete freshness to the Raw Women's division as soon as she stepped foot on it. And just as you think it's only going to be Alexa Bliss, the legend that is Mickie James walks to the ring, 6-time Women's Champion, and says, guess what? I'm back on Raw too. So Mickie and Alexa are on Raw. And the women's division on Raw now looking very, very strong. We then had The Miz and Dean Ambrose, the IC champion, coming on to Raw. I'm not happy about The Miz going to Raw. For the simple fact that I worry with Miz that he'll get lost in the shuffle on Raw. And he really doesn't deserve to. He was one of the hottest things on SmackDown. I genuinely believed he was going to be challenging for the WWE Championship. It's a big move for him, and if he can make it work, holy shit, Miz could be the star that I thought he was going to be 5-6 years ago. But there's a big question there. Is he going to get lost in the shuffle? And I fear he might. So I am disappointed. He is one of the ones I said, please don't move to Raw, and he's moved. Dean Ambrose, the IC champion, onto Raw as well. He's done it. The character's really dead in the water with me at the moment. I think he needs a heel turn or just needs to change his character a little bit. But the IC champion on Raw, it's an okay move. He wasn't doing anything for SmackDown, for me on SmackDown, so moving him to Raw ain't too bad, if you ask me. So altogether there, we had 9 people, or 10 people if you include Heath Slater and Rhino as one each, moving from SmackDown to Raw. 11 if you include Maurice. So a lot of movers, and I know what a lot of people are thinking is that, holy shit, you know, I saw some people on Twitter, you know, now SmackDown's got nobody. They've lost the IC champ. They've lost two of the big people in the women's division. We've only seen half of this, folks. We can't judge who's had the better draft, who's had the better shake-up, until we see what happens on SmackDown. No SmackDown trade was announced tonight. We'll see that on SmackDown Live. Yes, it makes for... I think it's clever by WWE, because it makes you want to watch SmackDown, because you want to see who the hell they've got. So I think it's clever. There are some bizarre ones. One I didn't actually mention. I skipped over him. How the fuck did I skip over it? It's because I went up and did Miz and Dean Ambrose and didn't then go back down. Bray Wyatt. Probably the biggest one up there with the Miz and Dean Ambrose. Well, actually, there's some big names, I suppose. The two women are massive. Wyatt's massive as well. Fighting Randy Orton at WWE Payback, and he is now on Raw. And he had words with Finlay Balor. And also... announced at Payback in 19 days, it will be Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt in a House of Horrors match. Now, I think probably the fact that Wyatt is on Raw will probably spoil the fact that he's not going to win at Payback even. And, but so yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed about that, but at the same time, Bray Wyatt's on Raw. It's a bizarre one. I didn't really expect Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt, and The Miz to be the ones transferred to Raw. I was 100% AJ was going to Raw. As of yet, he hasn't gone to Raw. He could go to Raw and SmackDown, although it would be kind of changing the sort of setup that they kind of made apparent on Raw in regards to only Raw people, only SmackDown people were coming to Raw on Raw, and only Raw people were going to SmackDown on SmackDown, if you see what I'm saying. But it could still happen. But yeah, pretty bizarre, but I don't mind Bray Wyatt being on Raw. It's interesting. Will he be booked any better? We'll have to wait and see. And yeah, it's difficult really to judge any of this until we know the full story. We've only seen half of the shake-up so far. Note on as well, bring a break in there as you didn't know. Byron Saxton and David Otunga have made a switch on the announce team. Byron Saxton joining SmackDown Live and David Otunga making the move to Monday Night Raw. So the SmackDown Live announce team now consists of JBL, the hashtag FireJBL on Twitter, because apparently he's been bullying Mauro Ranallo and Justin Roberts. Something's been going on there. I haven't really followed it. Although, I don't know. I might be missing the point here, but the sort of stuff that JBL said on SmackDown, I thought it was just tongue-in-cheek. You know, I know Ronaldo's got some mental health problems, and obviously, you know, that's terrible, but it just, to me, seemed like tongue-in-cheek. And if that's what it's based off, this Fire JBL thing, then I think it's kind of dumb. I really, really fucking do. Because that was tongue-in-cheek. He's a heel announcer. What's he meant to do? He's meant to do that. You see it with Byron and Corey on Raw, that you won't anymore, but you did see it with them. So if it's only that and nothing's happened backstage, then I think the Fire JBL's ridiculous. If something's happened backstage, I totally understand it. I know JBL's a bit of an arsehole backstage, or that's what we've always heard, but I feel like we always judge, WWE fans always judge people just on what they hear, and it's not always the case. Just because somebody said something doesn't mean it's true. Ultimately, we're not there. We don't know. And if you're only basing the hashtag FireJBL on what he said to Mauro Ranallo on SmackDown, which was, in my opinion, tongue-in-cheek, a heel commentator being a heel commentator, then I think that's really fucking ridiculous that you're calling for the head of somebody and wanting them to lose their job over that. But that's just me. I know it's not a popular opinion, but it's my opinion nonetheless. So Byron Saxton moved to SmackDown. I like the Raw thing. David Otunga does nothing for me. Graves will ruin him, and for that reason, I suppose I should kind of be happy. So I think I've announced everything there, but let's just talk about now what I think this means for who's going to Monday night, who's going to SmackDown Live. It's not Seth Rollins, we can confirm that. Let's go back with some of the lower ones. Apollo Crews, Kalisto, Kurt Hawkins. Anybody really these could be for. I think it's tough to say who is going to swap for them, but it could be any of the lower people on SmackDown. On Raw could make a switch. A Bo Dallas, a Jinder Mahal, any of them. So I'm not really going to make a prediction on them. So that's going to be interesting to see. As for the women, I think it's obvious. I could be wrong, but I think Charlotte will make the switch, and I think Emma will make the switch. So I think it'll be Charlotte and Emma. Charlotte for Bliss, James for Emma, and they'll be making their switch over to SmackDown. So it will leave the Raw division with the following: Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, Bayley, Sasha, Nia Jax, Dana Brooke. And I feel like I'm missing... No, I think that is. But that's a very, very solid division. SmackDown would be left with Charlotte, Emma, Naomi, Natalia, Nikki Bella, Carmella. You know, I feel like, again, Becky Lynch, of course. So, again, a very strong division. I think it makes both divisions deeper, stronger, and I think that would benefit if that happens. I am simply predicting. We've then got Dean Ambrose. I think that's a straight swap for Kevin Owens. I'll be down for that if that happens. The Miz and Maurice, I think Sami Zayn will go in their place. As for Bray Wyatt, it's tough to call. Who's going to be coming to SmackDown from Raw as the kind of in place of Bray Wyatt? I mean, it's tough. Reigns, no. Strowman, no. Rollins, confirmed, no. It's really difficult to say, and I have no idea who will be making that switch. It's very, very difficult to say. I want to try and make a prediction, but it is really, really tough. So it'll be interesting to see who exactly that is. But I think it's pretty much a dead set that it's Kevin Owens and Charlotte. You can bet your house they're going to Raw. And I would put a bit of money on Emma as well. As for the tag team, I think it's pretty simple. And again, you can put your house on Enzo Amore and Cass going to SmackDown. I won't talk too much about that because at the moment they're not on there. Now, as it stands at the moment, the Shield is on. The Shield is on Raw, all of them. So that's interesting. Look. Maybe the big one going to SmackDown is going to be Brock Lesnar. But I don't think so. I don't think the Universal title switching to SmackDown. Let's get ready then and go through the Raw results. I realised that I've taken a long, long time to just get through that, but let's get through it. Basically, we saw Miz come out with John Cena's music with Maurice to announce that they're on Monday Night Raw. We've already spoke about that. Dean Ambrose came out. Ambrose's character's dead in the water for me. Ambrose acted as if he didn't know John Cena. Didn't know that The Miz was acting as John Cena. I mean, some people probably found it funny. I didn't. I suppose it was okay. It wasn't terrible. And then Dean Ambrose worked out it was The Miz and hit him with dirty deeds, starting a feud. Ambrose, Miz for the IC title on Raw. Could have done something a bit more creative. Decided not to. But yeah, that was the opening segment, which was okay, I suppose. It showed who was the first two to come over. We then saw the New Day versus the Revival. If you didn't know, Kofi Kingston has hurt his ankle and did have surgery this week. He'll be out for a couple of weeks. Big E and Xavier Woods wanting to exert revenge on the Revival, and they didn't. The Revival getting their second win, clean victory over the New Day in 2 weeks. And the Revival certainly going to be a big deal on Monday Night Raw. A decent match. And, it would possibly as well... A lot of people say New Day are dead set to go on SmackDown. I'm not so sure. I think Cass and Enzo, who weren't on Raw at all this week, are 100% on SmackDown. But it'll be interesting where this feud goes. And more importantly, where the New Day go. 2 big losses against the Revival cleanly. How are they going to bounce back from them? It will be interesting to see. We then saw Kurt Hawkins announce that he is on Raw. Big Show comes out and basically gives him a knockout punch. Hawkins went to hug him. Big Show knocked him out. End of segment. Big Show looks like a monster, but at the same time, what is Big Show meant to be doing? The Hawkins going to Raw doesn't do much for me, but he's a jobber. It doesn't really matter. We then got Perkins versus Austin Aries. This match was decent match, back and forth. Perkins had a word with Neville backstage, or should I really say the other way around? Neville had a word with TJ Perkins and basically said, Austin Aries is stealing your shots. You're being looked over by the WWE and the Cruiserweights. And yeah, you need to start thinking about yourself rather than the WWE Universe. And that talk got to Austin Aries. Neville provided kind of a distraction. TJ Perkins rolled Austin Aries up. 1, 2, 3, got the victory. Ran out. Austin Aries staring down Neville saying, "What the fuck did you distract me there?" TJ Perkins comes in, turns heel. Perkins turns heel. He was stale as a face. Interesting development. Will it work? We'll have to wait and see, but it certainly was a decent segment, decent match. Perkins a heel. Austin Aries and Neville facing each other at Payback. Cruiserweight division slowly improving post Monday Night Raw. Not a bad segment, to say the least. We then saw Seth Rollins come out, and at first I thought he was basically going to be announcing that he's moving to SmackDown Live, thanking the fans, thanking the journey. But then he said, no, I do not want to make the easy decision. I made the easy decision once, and that was when I joined the Authority. I don't want to make it again, and I want to stay on Monday Night Raw and fight for my place. Out comes Kurt Angle, says, look, Stephanie wanted you on the blue brand. She wanted you to completely, utterly go the other way, get off the show. But I want you to stay. And as long as I'm the general manager, Seth frickin' Rollins is on Monday Night Raw. So all but confirming Seth Rollins will stay on Monday Night Raw. And just as that was confirmed, Samoa Joe attacks Seth Rollins from behind and suggests that Joe's staying on Raw. And we're getting Joe Rollins in a feud that should be very, very good. We'd have probably got it at Fastlane. Rollins got injured. We didn't get it. Rollins, Joe. Kurt Angle was kind of in the middle there trying to break him up. Couldn't do it. It'll be a great feud. And Seth Rollins, surprisingly, staying on Raw. But a very good segment. And finally, you're starting to see Seth Rollins as the face. This slow babyface turn because they decided to return him as a fucking heel finally seems to have embedded in and settled. We then saw Charlotte versus Nia Jax. This was a beatdown by Nia Jax. She went through the 5-time... Is she 5-time, 4-time? I don't know. 4-time, 5-time women's champion, Charlotte, and beat her. I mean, Charlotte did have a couple of moments in this match. There was a really ugly spot, a kind of a botch from Jax, but it wasn't a bad match. And holy shit, is Nia Jax looking like an absolute beast. What does this mean? Charlotte's going to SmackDown, and she's probably turning face. Nia Jax is the monster heel now on Monday Night Raw, and holy shit, she looked exactly that. A lot of people will say, why did they have Charlotte go over, completely lose cleanly to Nia Jax? But I think it was to establish Jax as the big deal, and Charlotte's moving to SmackDown, so her momentum will be automatically there because she's switching brands, if you see what I'm saying, and it's Charlotte on SmackDown, so it's a big deal. So, clever from WWE, and holy shit, though. I mean, people saying, the WWE, the company are like, Charlotte's like the John Cena of the women's division. Clearly not. But Jax looked absolutely dominant. She's staying on Raw. I'm happy about that, because I actually said in my thing that I'd swap her to SmackDown, but I'm glad she hasn't, and with the way things have worked out. Although she could still go to SmackDown, but I don't think it will happen. But yeah, decent match. And Jax absolutely on fire. We then got Finn Balor versus Jinder Mahal. Finn Balor could still go to SmackDown, although it wouldn't make sense with the confrontation we saw between Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt at the end of the match. Balor goes through Jinder Mahal in an okay match. The vignette, before, whatever they call it, the promo package vignette, I don't know what the fuck you call it. That before the match about Finn Balor was very, very good. WWE always great at creating great video packages. And out came Bray Wyatt on the big screen, and basically said, I've got a House of Horrors match with Randy Orton. Pay, bitch! And you better watch yourself, Finn Balor, because Bray Wyatt's on Monday Night Raw. Wyatt, Balor, dream feuds. Just a shame Wyatt's momentum isn't where it could have been. It's a shame Wyatt isn't bringing the WWE Championship with him. I suppose he still could. Balor, Wyatt, very decent. And just look at this at the moment. Lesnar, Strowman, Joe Rollins, Wyatt, Balor. all feuds on Monday Night Raw. Raw is looking pretty goddamn good for the next couple months. But yeah, very, very interesting that Wyatt's on Raw. Don't really know what to make of it. Balor looked dominant. Balor, Wyatt, a unique, fresh sort of match. Maybe with the fact that Strowman is on Raw now. I know, Strowman's on his own now. Please, God, don't put Strowman and Bray Wyatt back together. If they face each other, cool, but not back together. Strowman fucking awesome on his own. But yeah, no AJ Styles. So Finn Balor, AJ Styles, they're holding off on that one. Miz and Sami Zayn. I think this was kind of like to suggest that both are going to be. It's kind of like a trade. Like this was the trade. We don't know that yet, but I think we'll know that on SmackDown. Miz on Raw. Don't really know what to feel about that. We'll have to wait and see what it works out. Sami Zayn needs to go to SmackDown desperately. If he doesn't move to SmackDown, I'll be bitterly goddamn disappointed. If he moves to SmackDown, him, Styles, fuck Orton, but okay, Orton. Who else? Kevin Owens. Holy shit! Although Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have been on the same show a goddamn again. Corbin. It's starting to look like a really solid division on SmackDown as well. But Zayn has to move to SmackDown. This wasn't a great match, but it was okay. Zayn getting the win over The Miz, which was kind of surprising. Although it was a roll-up win, so nothing too massive, I suppose. Miz will hopefully regain his momentum. Although it did worry me that this might be the sign of The Miz on the downer. I wanted The Miz to beat Sami cleanly. Sami to go on SmackDown. He's got to reinvent himself on SmackDown anyway, so another loss really wouldn't have mattered, in my opinion. And it would have benefited Miz massively. We then saw the best segment of Raw of 2017, and possibly of the last couple of years. This was awesome. Orton, fucking hell. Michael Cole was interviewing Roman Reigns. I wasn't really listening, wasn't paying much attention, but basically, very, still a faith, folks. The crowd was booing. And out comes the monster, Braun Strowman, and he fucking destroys Roman Reigns. And that is the understatement of the century. He threw him through tables. He launched him into the fucking garage doors. He launched fucking, I don't know what you call them, massive equipment into him. Then you kind of think it's all done. You're thinking, that was a pretty friggin' awesome attack, Mr. Strowman. The crowd's chanting, you deserve it to Roman Reigns. Thank you, Strowman. Everybody was happy. I'm thinking, decent. Roman's going to be on the shelf for maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, so we can deal with him not being on Raw. And thank God he's not moving to SmackDown. I was kind of thinking, this is decent. Okay, he's going to come back and beat Strowman, but I could deal with it. They put him on the thing, on the stretcher. Strowman comes back, folks. And this, I swear to God, is one of the most brutal spots I've seen in WWE. Pushes Roman Reigns off. I don't even know how you even would describe it. He's on, obviously, the stretcher, tied onto it, and he pushes him off. I don't know what you call it. Like it basically, there was a bit where he then fell down. I can't describe it. Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to describe, but he fell like into the car parking lot, and it was like a fucking 6, 7, 8 foot drop while he was on a stretcher, and the stretcher, it's spiked, folks. It's spiked. Roman fell head bloody first. We then take a break. We come back. They're dealing with Reigns. They put him into the ambulance. Strowman comes, tips over the goddamn ambulance with Roman Reigns in it. Holy shit, then have to put Roman in a smaller ambulance. This was awesome. If you only watch one segment from Raw, you've got to go and watch this. Partly because I can't explain it very well, and partly because it was friggin' awesome. If Reigns should be on the bloody shelf for a long friggin' time, but he's fucking not. But I hope he is. The crowd were chanting, you deserve it. That was funny. It just shows how not over Roman Reigns is. If this was to try and make us feel sympathy to Roman Reigns, it didn't work. It made me love Braun Strowman more. I want to see Strowman as Universal Champion ASAP. But I did just try and read out the update on Roman Reigns, and I fucked it all up. So let's try again. Roman Reigns was brutally ambushed by Braun Strowman on Raw Monday night, resulting in cracked ribs, internal injuries, and a possible separated shoulder. After the monster among men's initial attack, which culminated in Reigns being thrown off a loading block while strapped to a gurney. The big dog was loaded into an ambulance by EMTs. However, Strowman reappeared, continued the brutality by tipping over the emergency vehicle with the big dog still inside. Reigns was then rushed to a local medical facility in a second ambulance for evaluation. Strowman, meanwhile, forced to leave Long Island, New York, whatever the fuck that stadium is called. Memorial Coliseum. Stay with the WWE.com as updates on Reigns' conditions become available. So it looks like he may be injured. I'm just going to read you the top comment on WWE.com. Roman Reigns never asked for to be destroyed and no one to deserve, and Braun Strowman should be fired and never allowed to wrestle again, and Roman Reigns is a lot better wrestle than Braun Strowman ever be, and get well soon Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns is my favourite wrestle. I literally, you probably think, why do you not say wrestler? Why did you get some of that wrong? This is literally what you said, wrestle, not wrestler. Someone put, it's a storyline. There was no one or a well, actually, that's what I thought. People are saying there was no one on the stretch where there was a dummy. I'm not. I don't know, actually. I actually think it was real, personally. But there you go. I mean, this was fucking brutal. People are calling for Strowman to be fired. Fucking hell, I hate Roman Reigns. This was the best part of Raw. Oh yeah, and then the crowd chanted, no, hey, goodbye. It was beautiful. What an unbelievable segment on Raw. Loved it to bits. How long will Roman Reigns be out? Hopefully for the rest of eternity. Then we got an 8-man tag match, which was kind of pointless. The Hardys, Cesaro and Sheamus, the Shining Stars, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Oh yeah, Elijah Sampson. I should have mentioned him. He was just wandering around. The Drifter wandering around. He's on Raw. Be interested to see what happens with him. I don't think he's really got a massive spot on NXT, so I'll probably a mid-carder and one that kind of fails to do anything on Raw, but we'll have to wait and see. The Faces got the victory. We then saw a bit of showmanship by the Hardys and Cesaro and Sheamus, who will face each other at Payback for the Tag Team Championships. Nothing much to say about that. We then saw the Women's Division take an absolute unbelievable swap. So Sasha Banks came out. She introduced Bayley to the ring. Bayley said, "Thank you, fans, for everything you've done to me." And then the boss went, "Look, I want your title." Just as she said that, Alexa Bliss's music hit. She started talking about how she's on the Raw brand. And then Mickie James's music hits. And you're like, holy shit, she's down the Raw brand. Then Nia Jax comes and beats up Mickie fucking James from behind. Nia goes in the ring. Alexa pushes fucking Sasha Banks into her. Brilliant. Nia Jax beats everyone up, apart from Alexa Bliss. Jax looks strong. Alexa Bliss looks strong. The Raw Women's Division looks strong. Very, very decent segment, if you ask me. Loved it to friggin' bits. We then got the main event. Kevin Owens versus Dean Ambrose. IC Champion versus US Champion. Kevin Owens last night on Monday Night Raw, in my opinion, for a while, as I believe he is moving to SmackDown, as I believe he should have done right from the start. But he was the Universal Champ, so it has worked out decent for him. He is facing Chris Jericho for the US title at Payback, so that will still be decent. We'll probably get Baron and Ambrose as well. No, we probably won't. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's so confusing. Like, it's difficult to review this show when it's SmackDown's massive part. Like, we don't really know what to expect. But yeah, the match was decent. I'm not really going to explain too much about it, but Dean Ambrose getting a clean victory over Kevin Owens. That pissed me off, but there we go. I can deal with it. Owens is going to SmackDown. Again, he can regain his momentum, no problem. And out comes Chris Jericho. Break the walls down. Code breaker Owens ends the show with Chris Jericho standing tall. He's back. He's bad. He ain't going to take the title from Kevin Owens because he's going on tour with Fousey. Fozies. Whatever. I've forgotten what their names are. Anyway, an okay episode of Raw. Still got to judge it. You have to kind of judge these shows once you've seen them both. Because obviously if SmackDown gets a bad end of the deal, you're going to be like, this was all shit. If it gets a decent end of the deal, which I think it will, you'll probably go, yeah, freshens things up, and I'm looking forward to it. So, yeah, that is it for the Raw review. Apologies about its shitness. This commentary hasn't been particularly good. It's been quite a long commentary. I've fucked up a couple of times, which means I'm going to have to go watch the whole fucking 32 minutes to work out exactly where I did fuck up. So that ain't fun, but all in the life of a YouTuber, folks. Thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please leave a like. And I'll see you next time. Just a little note, if KW is watching this, if he isn't, then that's no, I'm talking to myself. But if he is, I really appreciate you watching the end of the review. Hope you enjoy your vacation. Appreciate your support while you're on vacation, and enjoy the rest of your holiday. Thanks for watching. I'll be back for the Smackdown Live review tomorrow. Now, until then, have a great day. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Jesus Christ, boiling here in the UK. It's like fucking 20. Like, I know you're probably thinking 20 degrees, Cameron. That's not expensive. That's not expensive. That's not hot. Here, it's hot, folks. It's fucking hot.